I think most people are too shy to do the organic side of things. Branding is huge. Marketing, I would use those in the same kind of category to an extent. How are you represented when people think about you and your business? Like what does that represent to them as a customer? And then can you sell the product that you have? And then are you great at delivering that product? Those are the three things I think of when I have to distill it down to three.
How do you find the will to fight back against a world that wants to keep you sedated, average, and stuck in place? Join us for the tools and strategies you need to create a life of abundance, discipline, and high achievement. This is the Tactical Empire with Jeff Smith.
Welcome to another episode of the Tactical Empire. I am joined today by Sean Ryder. What's up, man? How are you?
Oh, we're just dodging the sicknesses in this house. The son had his fever Friday, Saturday, and then the daughter's fever started last night. So the boy went to school. The daughter is home from school. And so sixth season has started early in the Ryder household. Jeff, how are you?
Right on. I'm good, man. I'm good. I went to an Oktoberfest German festival over the weekend, and my kids insisted that I enter a Stein holding contest, which I had never seen. I didn't know was a real thing, but apparently I am now qualified for the national championships of Stein holding in the United States. I moved on to the next round. I got second place. I was surprised to get second place, but like I used my left arm, and like once you're in it, you're like, God, I should have done all this differently. And so, yeah, you have to stand there straight out and hold one of those Munich style beer steins full of water, and you see how long you can do it.
How much would that weigh? Was that like 24? What is that? Like 2 pounds or something? Is it a pound and a half? How heavy is it? More than that?
I think it's like 5 pounds.
Oh,
I think it's like 5 because I think it's a 32 ounce thing. So it's big. And yeah, I don't know. My kids encouraged me to do it. I was like, fuck no, I'm not doing that. And then I'm like, looked at my wife and I was like, I'm getting into it. And she's like, what? You're going to do it? And I was like, I have to. I tell my kids to do shit all the time and push their comfort zones. I said, what kind of dad would I be if I just said, no, I'm not going to do it? And so, I mean, there was zero chance of getting injured. So I was like, fuck it, I'll do it.
I mean, holding your arm straight out, that could be taxing on the shoulder. So, it's kind of like when you become a parent for the first time and you realize like holding a 7-pound baby in your arm is like the hardest workout in the world. So, fantastic. Well, the cool thing about holding a beer stein is it's probably a skill that's not required to run businesses. And we've been on some really good podcasts lately for business owners. We're going to hang out there for a little bit longer. So Jeff, in your mind, when I know that small businesses are technically defined as like 500 employees or less, like $100 million or whatever it is. But when I talk about small businesses, I'm usually talking about people less than $1 million in sales. We do have quite a few people in the inner circle that have more than $1 million in sales in their businesses, but most of them that's not the case. A lot of the business owners that I've worked with are in that $500,000 range. If they have a small service-based business, $500,000 revenue, they're usually doing pretty well for themselves and maybe 1 or 2 employees. So let's kind of hang out in that super small business realm for a minute. What do you think some of and we're going to break this down into macro and micro skills. So like, what do you think 3 of the most important higher level skills or abilities or areas of business are most important to, let's say, the majority, so more than 50%, the majority of small business owners out there? What are the macro skills that they or their business should be focused on, in your opinion?
Oh, man. I think you need a single product and you need to fulfill on that at a high level. And then beyond that, it's communication and sales, obviously. And then I don't know that there's even marketing and branding is great, but like until you're great at your product and fulfillment and until you can sell it, I don't know that the third one. I mean, the third one is consistency and leadership within what you're doing. But having consistency, because most businesses fail because people can't stay focused on the thing for a long enough period of time, right? And and like doing the fundamental aspects of business, which are like selling and fulfilling, finding new customers, selling and fulfilling, telling your story, branding, things like that. I think most people are too shy to do the organic side of things. I think branding is huge.
Yeah.
Marketing, I would use those in the same kind of category to an extent, because how are you represented when people think about you and your business? Like what does that represent to them as a customer? And then can you sell the product that you have? And then are you great at delivering that product? I would say those are the three things I think of when I have to distill it down to three.
Yeah. No, I really like that answer, and mine kind of plays off a lot of those actually. Like in my mind, I think it has to be a default. It's almost like a gimme answer. So it's an answer that's not allowed. It's like you have to be good at the thing, right? Like if you want to start a lawn mowing business and you suck at mowing lawns, like no one's going to pay you money after the first time that you mow their lawn. So let's just say that being good at the thing. It doesn't mean you have to be perfect or the best in the area, because I think some young entrepreneurs may not be as good as other businesses, but you can get there. You can learn how to be better at the thing over time. But you have to have some idea on what you're doing. So default, in order to succeed at business, you have to be good at the thing. Whether it's just you're a solopreneur, or you have a team of 5 to 10 people. Like everyone that you bring on has to be good at whatever that role or task is. In my mind, it really does. Small business owners, outside of being good at the thing, it really comes down to the marketing and sales, in my opinion. Because as we'll kind of maybe dive into in the next episode, like leadership is important, but like what does leadership look like on a business of less than 5 people,
Yeah.
when everyone's involved in the day to day? So I think from a high level in the clouds, you have to have, and don't be mistaken, you guys that are listening, like you don't have to be great or the person to handle the marketing and sales. So one, be good at the service, your operations of the thing, the task, the actual product service has to get done. It has to get done well. That's blanket, has to be good. Two, you have to be good at sales. I know what the argument is like, well, we can't market unless we know how to sell, because if we market and get 100 people to look at our product and we don't know how to sell them, that's not important. Well, the inverse is also true. You can be really good at sales, but if you only have one person dialing your phone number every month, like you're not going to succeed. So I think we have to, as small business owners, have to put an equal or very close to equal emphasis on both marketing / branding and sales, getting people to actually hand over their dollars
Yeah.
to us. So let's just go deeper on the marketing side of things. I mean, you brought up organic. I think in my area, so for those of you in the Winchester area that own small businesses that are listening, I don't think you guys do a really good job at either organic marketing or paid marketing. I say this all the time when I meet other small business owners in this town or do presentations. I just did a presentation 2 weeks ago to like 35 or 50 local
Mhm.
business owner high achievers. It was like the fact that I'm 36 years old and me and my wife make pretty decent income, and I've never once seen a Facebook ad for a lawnmower business in my town. Like that blows my mind. I should be the ideal candidate for a lawn service business. I get the flyers in the mailbox. I get the pest control flyers. They try and put them on my mailbox all the time. It's not good enough because all of them do that. And that's only one flyer at the start of the season because they're trying to get their new business ramped up. But if you had a small drip campaign on paid ads, Facebook and Instagram, and you allocated, here's the nugget. If you allocate 2 to 5% of your revenue to paid advertising, and you allow that to run 24/7, 365, as long as it's half decent and it's hyper local, you will get business from the dollars that you spend there. Okay. So I think every small business should be doing paid advertising. Outside of that, in the year 2024, most people want to do business with people they know, like, and trust. paid ads can get you eyeballs. I don't think paid ads are going to get you the know, like, and trust factor. So that's where you have to have some organic social media content that can be through your business page. But again, there's an argument there to where the reach on social, like, it's a pay to pay platform. So you could have great content, but if people aren't engaging with it, it's only going to see like 1 to 2% of your followers. And if it has good engagement, it might get the 5 to 10%. So as a small business owner, you have to be putting content, valuable content, on your personal social media pages. The amount of small business owners that I see locally, that I know locally, to where if I got on their Facebook page and did like 10 thumb flicks, which is a lot of posts, and I don't see one post about what it is that they do at their business, or like, it doesn't have to be self-promoted. It doesn't have to be a sales post. It could just be something so simple. Like, I'm happy to be at, so-and-so restaurant today. I love coming in and prepping for dinner. Like, people have to know what you do, man. Like, they have to know. So what are your thoughts on some low-hanging fruit, maybe some suggestions, maybe things you've seen some other guys in the group or that you've mentored over time? How do you hammer the importance of organic social or paid social for marketing side?
Man, I can't tell you enough about organic branding and like keeping up with your own social media. Just so people can kind of know, like, and trust you, take a peek at like who you are or what you represent. People hate doing it. I was the number one person that hated doing it. When I started doing it 4 years ago, 3 years ago, 5 years ago, I don't know what it was, but like I can tell you it's completely changed kind of my life and my opportunities, because there's a lot of people out there that know what I do or are kind of plugged in. Or if you go find me, it's not foreign what I'm doing. I mean, my life's pretty fucking weird. I do a bunch of different shit. So people are always like, what are you doing? But you can see the consistency of what I've been doing, whether it's real estate, whether it's the tactical empire, whether it's my kids or traveling or RVing and shit like that. So, I tell people all the time that like this is your 2024 resume essentially in today's day and age. Like if you go try to raise capital for fucking real estate projects or something like that, you better have something on social media that shows you have done real estate for like a day at least, or no one's going to find you credible at all. Or if your last post was 2018 and you're asking me for money today, they're going to be like, this guy's not serious, because like I can't really find a body of work in anywhere. I mean, you could send me to your business profile, but that's all kind of like manicured and curated. That's the fucking like mass media, big news. That's like CNN shit. I don't want to see that. I want to see like what you're putting up. Like, who are you? What do you represent? You know what I mean? Like if I send you to my business page, that's been curated by a marketing person or like somebody that has taken the time to load it up with like what we're offering, which is fine. I mean, that's informative. Don't get me wrong, but most people want to go a layer deeper at least. So I think the branding, when you're talking about low hanging fruit, I think the best thing you can do is track your journey. If you're opening a business, tell people about it. People want to know what it looks like to grow a business. If you're going from zero to $250,000 in revenue, like just track the journey. Tell people about it. How'd you do it? What worked? What didn't work? Be transparent. People like hearing the L's as much, well, as more than they like hearing the wins, quite frankly, because most social media is curated to be positive, and it's like everybody's uh, it's their wins and their celebrations. It's not what went wrong or what didn't work, right? Most of the time. So like the most compelling channels or the most compelling like content is oftentimes like, hey, I tried this and it fucking blew up in my face. And fortunately for me, like I've got a lot of those examples. And so like that's what gives us an audience over time, because
Yeah.
I'm not shy about that. I make no airs that like a lot of things I do don't work. I mean, I'm maybe hitting 300, maybe.
You'd be in the Hall of Fame of business ownership then if you're hitting 300. Love that. Yeah, man. Let's just hang out on the topic. When I did my presentation the other week to local business owners, I was talking about the same thing, and the basic like self audit that I wanted them to do, or like I had them write down what are they currently working on, and I said the way I want you to answer that question is if I didn't know who you were and I pulled up your social media and I looked at it and like maybe like your faces were blurred out or logos were blurred out or whatever, and all I could do was look at what you wrote and a portion or all of the photo that you posted. I should get a pretty clear grasp only after maybe like 2 or 3 weeks worth of posts on what the most important things in your life are.
Yep.
So those of you listening, I would like you to do that, right? After this podcast, I want you to go to your Facebook. I want you to go to your Instagram. And I just want you as unbiased as possible, even though it's going to be hard. Like, just imagine you're someone that you don't know and they're looking at your profile. Take note on the general topic of each of the posts that you've made over the past 30 days and note how often you've posted them. If it's 30 days worth of posts and it's only 2 posts, no one saw those 2 posts, regardless of how good they were, because you're not getting enough eyeballs, you're not getting enough engagement on 2 posts. So I want you to basically think that you're a stranger, and what would that person think that you do? Number one. The next thing I want you to do, if you want to get better at this, here's the activity that I had the people do. It was, if you could only, and don't be mistaken, those of you listening, this is, I don't see any difference between your personal life and your professional life. Now, some people are going to be like, that's why we're in a really bad spot as society. We don't know how to separate them. That's not necessarily what I'm saying. I'm saying that your career, I hope, is an important part of your life. I hope it's not more important than your family or more important than the things that you're doing outside of career. But these things flow in an ideal situation. We talked about this on another podcast. In an ideal situation, you flow from one thing to another. Okay, they could be 2 completely different things, but when I read your post, there should be some continuity in the way that you speak of these things. And so, with that being said, if you could only talk about 5 things or say 5 things for the rest of your life in this season of life, what would that be? And like, when I told the people that at that meeting, you could kind of like see people like, oh crap, like, what would I talk about? And I said, well, before you guys write it down for yourself, those of you that know who I am, that are friends with me, there are a few of them in the crowd. I said very quickly, I said, this could blow up in my face. I said, very quickly, guys tell me what are the most important 5 things that I want to talk about for the rest of my life. Dude, within 60 seconds, they nailed all 5 of them. The first one that came out of a girl's mouth was, my family is super important to me. And so family encapsulates how I am as a husband, how I am as a father. Fantastic. I love that that was the first one that someone jotted out. Another one that someone jotted out was health and fitness. Fantastic. Not only for the individual, but I do own a health and fitness business. We're opening up a metabolic franchise gym. Number 3, people talked about infinite banking. So happy that they brought that up. Yes, I want to talk about that for the rest of my life. Then the other 2 were like a general mix between business building and wealth building. That's all I really want to talk about for the rest of my life. And they nailed it. They nailed it. Now, again, I think there's 2 ways that you could do this. You could either separate out your personal and business. If you want to think about business branding or business marketing, you can do that. Be like, what are the 5 things I want my customers to know or say about my business in perpetuity? Then those are the 5 things your business should be talking about. And then when you take it over to your personal life, what are the 5 things I want to talk about? So those are 2 really tactical things people can do coming off this call, is audit yourself based on the past 30 days of posts on your personal page. And then moving forward, what are the 5 things that you want to talk about for the rest of your life?
Yeah, man. I like that. Mine's simple, and you guys can steal this, rip it, whatever. Like, my personal page is solely built on our 4 F's, and it's just family, fitness, freedom, and finances. And to include, like, if you're talking about faith and belief, like, I do a lot of mindset stuff, and that all goes into freedom, because it's freedom of how you're fucking operating energetically and feeling, but also like the freedom of time and location and stuff. So that's all bundled into one. So don't get it confused. But like, for me, if you were to break down my posting, it's just those 4 pillars constantly in some form or fashion. And so it makes social media posting so much easier, because it's like, whatever, this is who I am. Like, if you follow my stories, I post almost every day some sort of picture of running, walking, fitness, lifting type thing. And that's simply just for consistency. I'm not like putting myself out there like, oh, I'm in the greatest shape in the world. It's just like, hey, I'm here with you doing this shit every single day. And for me, it's a more accountability stuff, because if I don't have a picture to throw up, I feel like maybe I wasn't doing it or something. And so
you're not in the greatest shape, dude. You just got second place in a Stein holding contest.
That's accurate. That's accurate.
What was the name of the woman that beat you?
No, it's all dudes, man. It's all dudes. I beat all the women. My time was better than all the women. Just so you know, the record, national record, is 22 some minutes for guys.
Wow.
Yeah. So imagine standing there for a fucking half hour like this.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, put that on the list of things that like I have no intention on doing, for sure. Just don't even need to bother. Jeff, hey, I'm happy with this. You know, coming up on the end of the podcast, listen, if you're a small business owner and you haven't taken a look at, one, the operations of your business, are you guys good at what you do? That is one big chunk of it. The issue is, if no one knows who you are, a la marketing and branding, you're not going to get business. If people know who you are, but you're bad at sales, you're not going to get any business. If you're good at marketing and you're good at sales, but you're not good at the thing, you're not going to get any business. So when we look at the three macro chunks of what you should be good at: marketing, sales, and operations, doing the thing, I do think we can add a big umbrella over the top of those three, that money is equally as important, because you can build a business, but if you're not good at controlling the flow of money, then you're not going to be as successful as you can be inside of your business and outside of your business. But we did not bring that into today's topic, because that is pretty much what the rest of this podcast has been: how to build financial freedom. And part of that is putting your money to work. So you have to control the flow of money. Jeff, is there anything you want to add? If not, we can send the people out on that one.
Well, I think you might be sitting there going, well, you talked about branding the whole time, but like, if I'm a new business owner, how the hell does that help me or bring me business? And you have to understand that, like, people want to help.
Hands and kissing babies. Like, people have to know who you are. Like, go out and shake hands, kiss babies. It's the biggest. Sorry to cut you off, Jeff, but like, I owned a gym for 12 years, and now I'm opening a new one. And the biggest thing that I realized was I did not do enough in the local community in the previous gym. And that's basically, we do have paid ads running right now, but the big thing is like, our GM is getting out into the community. People already know who we are, and our doors aren't even open because we're shaking hands and we're kissing babies. Finish your thought.
Yeah, and I think most people get in their own head about that. They don't want to step out there and be in the limelight or whatever it is. But ultimately, if you want to change your family's future, if you want to spend the time building this business, you owe it to yourself to go out there and become the person in your community that does that, whether it's roofing, whether it's fucking dog washing or dog walking or whatever it is. Like, I want you to be the first name they think of when they think of fitness, or when they think of like, hey, we should join a financial mastermind or whatever. We should join the Tactical Empire, that type of thing. And you can't become that person without telling more people what you do, so that they in turn can go tell people what you do. Because if they don't know, they can't help you. And people intend to help you. They would love to. But if they don't know what you do, they can't help you at all. So
you need to be the unofficial mayor of your town. Stop. And it starts, oh God, here's my soapbox. It starts with all of you taking the world's best off of your website. The world's premier fitness instructor. You're not the world's best, but you need to be the best in your area. And that's going to be good enough to get to the level of success that you really need to live a good life.
100%. Guys, follow us on YouTube, like and subscribe the page. Join us in the Tactical Empire community on Facebook. DM us any questions. IG is probably the best place to shoot us messages, I would guess. I'm Real Jeff Smith. He's Sean_writer_. Hit us up, and we'd love to talk to you about these things, help grow your business, help you make some more money, and generally kick ass. So have a great week.